Hello everybody and welcome back. Tonight's account is from the forest of Bowland and I'm bringing it to you on a very rainy and windy night, so I'm afraid this is probably the best I can do until my new microphone arrives. So this is the Bigfoot Who Watches, the forest of Bowland. I'd like to remain anonymous for now, but you can pass my sighting along to anybody you may think could benefit from the knowledge or may be interested in hearing about my encounter. On the night that it all happened, it was slightly wet weather, and I was staying up near the forest of Bowland. I had settled in for the night when I realised I was not alone. First, I noticed there was something watching me from outside the camp. I saw a figure crouching, just watching me, and this lasted for about 15 to 20 minutes in total. I kept watch as the creature lurked around the area where I was camping, constantly on the go, and seemingly moving every few moments to a different spot from which to apparently get a better view. It was watching me the whole time. I will be honest, I was scared for a while there, not by anything the creature did or any noise it made, but because it kept changing position and it never moved its eyes from me, watching me constantly. In fact, it was very unnerving and I was quite frightened at the time this was happening. It never made a sound other than the noise of it getting up and running a short distance, where it would squat down again and seemed to be watching me from about as far away as half a football pitch in distance. It wouldn't stay in any spot for more than a few moments. Then every couple of minutes at the most it would squat there before lunging up and running off sideways to a different vantage point, where it would squat down again and peer at me. I didn't have a fire going at the time, so I was fairly well in the dark, but the sky provided a slight bit of light, just enough to see the thing as it lurked around my area. I got the impression it was trying to see what or who I was, which was why it kept moving quickly from one vantage point to another, but never coming up close. It felt like I was being scrutinised by something that was perfectly at home there, and I felt like I was the unwanted intruder. Whatever it was probably somewhat annoyed at my being there that night, which would explain the intimidating scrutiny I felt I was getting. And as you can imagine, I didn't sleep at all. It must have made its way off silently. I just huddled there in the cold, waiting for daylight to come. When it was almost morning, I made my way out of there, but I was keeping a watch behind me the whole way out, just in case it was still there. But as far as I could tell, it was gone. It was really intimidating to feel like I was being watched from the darkness, and it put me right off camping for about 3 or 4 years, which is most unlike me. Something like that leaves quite an impression on you, and I'm planning on returning to the area next summer for another camping trip, and this time I'll be more prepared, as I don't know what to expect. I'm not sure if this is important or not, but before this happened, I heard sheep off in the distance sounding like they were being harassed by something. About 15 minutes before I first noticed that something was lurking in the darkness around me. Then, during the encounter, it just kept getting closer and closer, a little bit at a time, but never coming too close. It was enough to frighten the daylight out of me. And yes, I would have buggered off immediately, except to get there in the first place, I'd had to walk all the way from the brook where I parked. It was a pretty inhospitable landscape, with a lot of places to fall into and things to trip over, even in the daylight. And in the dark of night, I certainly didn't fancy trekking all the way back home to the brook from the middle of nowhere, with God knows what following me. I was too scared to leave the spot I was in, because at least I was camped up next to some boulders and partly sheltered from the weather. So that's why I just sat it out until the sky began to get light, and I made a break for it then. It just seemed like the only choice I had. Now, the area itself is described as a lonely and seldom visited place due to the boggy land below and the long walk in. And the Fell's one of the most isolated areas in the UK, and it's underrun with caverns all through Bowland. There are a number of waterways in the area, including the River Dunsop, the Stidbrook, and the Lancaster Canal, and that's only to name a few. There are many other waterways here, and there are many abundant wooded areas in the lower valleys of Bowland, and varied ecosystem abounds here, with a vast array of wildlife, flora and fauna, and deserted for the most part. This area seems to be home to more than just the wild campers or hiking parties that pass by this way. Luckily, Darren Howe is our lead researcher for the Forest of Bowland area, and you can contact him through me at debbiehatswell@gmail.com, and that's all lowercase letters, and I can forward any details on. And if you'd like more information on the Bowland area, or would like to join Darren or any of the other researchers, please let us know. There have been a number of structures found through the Forest of Bowland, and I've included a link to the video here. And you can access the UK accounts here also at my YouTube channel, and I've included the links for that. So if you're off to Bowland at any point over the winter months, and you see anything strange that you'd like to report, get in touch with me, and I will pass the information on to Darren. And I'd like to thank this witness for getting in touch with me as well. I know it's hard to come out and share, and I'm very grateful that you did that. And so until next time, thank you all very much. Good night.